the DDIC objects and navigate and data elements, search helps and log objects. So I think I'll be able to complete today these things and search help and log objects because it is a very huge topic. So we will go to the search help and log objects in the next session. Okay. So as I showed you, like this is the data dictionary. It is a system independent interface to the database. So here what happens is like it's a virtual database containing like, you know, metadata, and it also helps in data manipulation and the data processing, right? So what happens here, we will have the application and the data dictionary and screen interfaces, and here the SAP database, like where you will create your tables or structures to hold the data, right? So like last time, like when we are writing, so when you are using a write keyword, what it is doing, and when you are using a variable, what it is doing, right? So in the like in that variable, when we declare it as a variable, it creates a certain memory, right, for that variable, and that is where you are storing the data. Similarly, large set of data, if you want to store it, right, then you create a table. And if you want to just store a single line item, or say for example, a table will contain multiple amounts of data, but a structure will contain only single set of data, right? You can say in general term array of data, right? So it will like, what is the necessity here, it will actually facilitates the development of the platform independent application. So if you see this thing, like we have these two multiple programs, you can use the ABAP dictionary, and here, like, you know, in every system, like your SAP database is on the Oracle as well and SQL Server as well, right? It can be on any platform independent database, right? So whenever you are using your ABAP dictionary, your SAP database, either it can be on Oracle server or it can be on SQL server, right? Doesn't matter. But every time whenever we write any program, it will directly go and hit the database, okay, to fetch the data, and that is where we will actually work this session, in this session. Okay. In SE11, whatever we will create, like data types or table or a structure, or say views, um, or data elements or domain, whatever. So those things all will be inclusive of this data dictionary. So I have actually just created the images so that it will be clear, because a picture describes 1,000 words, right? So, and then we will go back to this particular thing, and we will go step by step how to create it and all. So what happens here is, like, you this is a structure, graphical representation, where you have your ABAP dictionary objects, where use list I showed you, right? The relationship I showed you in the data modeling, right? If any modification, as you were asking me, there is a thing called as an include or append, dot include and dot append in the table. Okay, that we will go into the enhancement section when I will like, you know, cover in that topic. Then you have your repository info system and documentation. Okay, and here the validations, dictionary object timestamp validation. So there is something called as a maintenance generator, and you just be aware of all this name nomenclature, whatever I'm trying to say. Okay, so there is something called as, once you create a table, in order to make an entry in the table, you will be using a table maintenance generator. Now, in the table maintenance generator, if you want to add certain validations or timestamp validation, something like that, then you will be going for the events in the table maintenance generator, right? So going forward, we will cover all those topics, right? So, and these are certain T codes which we'll be using, like SEAT, you are already aware, repository browser. Then this is the repository information system, data browser. So once, see, SE11 is a table. So let me show you. So this is that page where you will be viewing the ABAP dictionary objects. So you can see this. These are all the things like database table, view, data type, type group. So suppose, for example, you want to display the database table here in VBRK. Okay. So this is the table display. Okay. So if I go to this one, SE16N, right? This is also the table display. But if you see, this is called as the data browser, right? So here also what is the major difference if you see is this, sorry, this one. See here what happens is you are able to see the fields in the table, correct? And you are able to see the data element, data type and sort description and the rest of the attributes. And if you want to display or execute the contents of this particular table, you will go like this. This is that particular icon. Can you see this? Contents. Okay. So when you go here, and if you see the number of the entries here is 35,145 in this air server. Okay. So if you execute it, you will be able to see this way. Okay. Now, generally what happens is the functionals are more like, even when you will also work, you will generally, so here what happens is directly you are able to see the fields. Okay. And if you want to execute here also, the same data you will be able to see here as well, right? But it is more clear and you can see that it is more comfortable to look into, right? The layout basically. And also if you want to see, like, I want to see certain data like fields in my table. Sometimes what happens is in your requirement you want to display these many fields and you just want to compare with another table, so you can do this. Okay. So this is the basic difference between that like SE16 and SE11. You got my point? Okay. So
question here. See, we see that 35,000 records, right?
yeah.
Value. Assume there is no data which is available. It might be zero entries.
Correct.
So how dynamic as a paper we might not be creating any data. How that is getting see, assume functionals may come across and they will enter the values over here and it will save. That will directly go to database table, right? That particular table. So for going into the table, is there any driver program to drive?
No. There is no driver program. You can create a driver program where you need to insert the data. That is also one way. But suppose, for example, you want to create a like generally what happens is some of the tables, whenever you are creating a custom table, you will create a table maintenance generator. I'll come to that. Okay, that T code is called as SM30. Okay. So here directly what you can do is you can maintain the data inside that. Like any table you take it and you can, if you will have to check if in this table there is a table maintenance generator or not, right? So this one, okay. You cannot do it. Definitely, it will not allow you to do it probably. Yeah, it will not allow you to do it. But suppose, for example, you want to create a custom table and you want to insert any entries, then you have to create a table maintenance generator. Or else for these particular type of table where it is a standard table mostly, okay, very few rare tables like where it is used in SPRO and all, config tables and all, there the table maintenance generator will be there and the functional will be able to maintain the records. Okay. But mostly the standard table you will have to insert it via the program. Okay, custom program which you will create, or if you are using a custom table, then you can create a table maintenance generator for that one, which is this one.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
So that is how you can create, insert, delete, anything, modify. You can do everything through this particular transaction code. Okay. So as I said to you, right? And SM31 is that table maintenance, table views or table maintenance, right?
SM31 is something where we can maintain and edit the table details.
Yeah, you can just like, this is the same thing. Like you can maintain it. Okay. You can display it. You can transport it as well. You can give a condition here. Condition how you can give. So say for example, if you want to create any entries and you want to see based on that particular field. Okay. that also you can give here the conditions. Okay, and also you can create a variant. Okay.
Okay.
So these all things are there in this SM30. So first, what we will do, discuss about the domain. Okay. So what is a domain? See, when you come here, right, you are able to see the data element. Go inside this. This is called as a domain. It's a technical structure of a field that is its size and its data types. Domains are attached to the data element. Inside this domain, right, you can value range. Okay, you can give certain fixed values to it, and you can also use a value table, like from where the values can be determined. Okay, and this is why the domains are used. And also there is an output length and conversion routine. Like the conversion routine are basically they are used to convert the values into the internal or external format, right? For example, like you have a field called as a creation date. Okay, and if you know that which is of type, like say for example there is a type, so you can see here there is a type called as data type character. Similarly for dates, it is DATS. Okay, so when we are using that creation date, that will give you, and in our global structure, that will give you a user external date format. Okay, and see this one, when you see this, okay, this billing date you can see, right, like you can see 31.12.1995. Now suppose there will be a requirement where you want to display it with some any other output format, like say 31/12/1995. Okay, you can use this conversion routine to convert the external data format and alter the output format of the field. Okay, so for that reason, the conversion routine will be used. Okay, let's try to create a table. Inside the table, I will create the fields and fields, data elements, and domain. That's it.
Set val to. Okay.
Okay, so this is a text table. I can just mention a description. Okay, and this one is the delivery class of a database table controls the transport of the table data in the installations or upgrades or client copies, and it also helps in the transport between the customer system. So say for example, when you chose this A, delivery class A, it means an application table for the master data or the transaction data. So what do you mean by a master data? Master data is like which is seldom changed. Like it will not be like majorly Mara or your VBAK or VBAK, which is the header details. Those are the master data. They will not, they are not subjected to change. Okay, but when I say the transaction data, say for example your line item level tables, VBAP, item header details. Okay, so those are the transaction related details where it will be subjected to lot of changes. Okay, so here majorly what happens is when we come to this delivery class, so this delivery class we generally give it as an application table. Okay, customizing table, this is mostly not given. So these all options are used either project specific or by the customers. Okay, end users or customers. But generally we go and use this application table because mostly we use either master data or the transaction data. Okay, any doubt in this one, data class?
No.
Okay, so I will go to this data element domain and all. So what I'm planning right now is I will just create a table. I'll show you how to create the table, and then inside that when we create the field, I'll cover this data element and domain. Okay, so here this data browser, whatever you see, like display maintenance allowed with restrictions, maintenance allowed, and maintenance not allowed. Okay, so whenever you are trying to like generally what we do is either you can use this display maintenance allowed with restrictions or with allowed. Okay, so whenever we try to create this particular field, so the display and the maintenance which I said you right in SM30, so you can just use that, it is allowed. Okay, and then you will be able to use your table maintenance generator. Okay, so in these fields, so first is your mandate, okay, which is the client dependent field. Okay, so we generally use it as a key field in any table. If you want to make it as a client dependent or client independent, when you use it as a mandate field, then whatever you do a change, okay, in this particular system. So as I said to you, right, initially, you will have a development client, which is dev server, and then you will have there will be two clients in your particular development server. Okay, one will be, say for example, 900 and another one will be 800. So in 800 you will have the right to create all the objects, and in another client you will be having the right to only display the particular result. So whatever you created in 800 client, it will be displayed in the 900. I'm just giving you this is the standard data element which is used. Okay, because I showed you, right, there are standard tables where already the standard data elements are created. Okay, now instead of this data element, I want to use data element. Okay, so let's see if it has been already there. In any table, we will be actually declaring the fields, and we will have to create at least one key field. Okay.
Okay,
So
one question here. Maybe you
yes,
told it, I missed it. What is the difference between field and a data element?
you want to retrieve customer, material description, or any certain fields which you want to display it in your tabular format, which is called as an ALV. You will use these particular fields. Data element is which will give a description to that field. Suppose, for example, if I just say Kunnar, what do you mean by that? It gives a
Customer number.
meaning to this particular field, right? Inside this, yeah, customer number. So when you create a data element, it gives a description to that data element. And if you go inside this data element, okay, if you go to this customer element, you can see that there are labels. Okay, labels. This will give the description of that particular field. Am I clear?
Yeah. Can you go back to that attributes again?
Yeah, sure. We have to save it and then only. See, we created a package last time, right? I will be using this one itself. And this is my TR. Okay, whenever you use the package, it will ask for the TR. Okay. So now when you said like you wanted to see this one, right? Access key, just display. Huh. So why it asked for the access key? Because it is a standard field. Okay. We cannot make any change in the standard field. So you wanted to see the attribute, right? So whenever it is in DE, and this is a standard field. So whenever last changed by it is SAP, this is a standard field. You cannot make any changes. For making any change, you will need a access key. Okay. Okay. So this is the data type, and this one is your like domain, which I was telling you. Okay. And you wanted to ask something in here.
Can you go back again? I saw you making Z Kunnar to the
that is when
element.
I will try to create now a Z data element. I was just showing you that this is a standard data element. Generally, what happens is the data element, it will describe a reference type. Like basically, like what is the basic difference between a data element and domain is used for the technical definition of a table field, such as I said, the field type and the length. And this data element is used for the semantic description. Like if you want to describe something about this particular field, like whatever we have given here, the customer number or anything, so that will be defined via the data element. And if you want to understand about the like the field type and length, those things will be defined in the domain. So let's create a data element in domain, and then you will be able to use it. Okay. So say, for example, I will try to create a custom data element. Okay. So now Z Kunnar is not existing in the system. So data element zkunar not available, right? So you will have to create a data element. You just double click on that one, give a particular, so any custom data element, custom table, custom field, whatever custom thing, it starts with Z and Y. Okay, as I told you in the last class. So say for example, I want to try to use this zkunar. Okay, so I will give a particular customer number test. Okay, just to like differentiate anything whatever we have used it. Okay, and again I will give the like the domain as also the same. You can give any other name, zkunar1, zkunar2, something like that. Okay, so before going to like create the domain, just save this one. Okay, it will be saved in this package. We are not done yet with the data element. Okay, so it will ask for the field label. So you can just say that 10, this is like customer medium. What is the meaning of this thing is, whenever in the Excel, in the ALV, whenever you are displaying it, right? So say for example, if I go to any ALV report or ALV display, okay. So when you see this format, right, you can see this SO or ORG. Okay, this is the small one. Okay. Sorry. Let's go there. The short description of that field is SORG. Okay. This one and this one. Okay. The short description of the field is SORG. Now, if I want to, like, if I want to display something called as the medium length, then also you can display something called as customer. And if you want to display the long like description, it will be distribution channel. You got my point, right? So that definition, whatever you can do here, so like accordingly that will display like that. Okay, you want to display any search help for that one. Search help means what? Like sometimes what happens is, for any particular field, let's see if it has, so see here one search help has been kept on this distribution channel. Okay, so generally in the standard, we will come to that search help, how to create that search help in the next session, actually, lock object and search help. So what it does, it gives a hint of all the possible values in the particular field. Okay, say for example in your system, these all are fields values in this particular distribution channel. So a lot of standard search helps will be there. You can also create a custom search help. Okay, so for that also you can use here in the data element. And a parameter ID is used to, I think the parameter ID will be used in the ALV reports, where you can, like, suppose if you press one particular field, it will take you to the standard screen. Suppose for example in you have a requirement where in the ALV you will be displaying the sales order details, okay, with sales order number, item description. And in your ALV report there will be one requirement where if you click on that sale order number, it will transit to the sales order master screen. Sales order master screen means that VA01 which I showed you, right? It will go to there, or VA03. Okay, so these kind of requirements you can actually make use of this parameter ID. You're getting my point? So see, they have used this CKunar. CKunar is generally that search help, the standard search help. Based on that, whatever field values for the customer number are there in that in the system, it will come. It will show it in the search help. You understood my point, right? Whatever I showed you here. Or any doubt is there?
No.
Hello. Yeah.
No.
So now let's create a domain. So now if you see here, it will ask you that domain zkunar is not available. So create a domain here. Okay, so same thing. I'll just give here the customer number. Okay. Now, if you see, I'm just comparing the standard and the custom. So now, if you see this Punnar, this character 10 is okay. Now, if you want that, no, my customer number, like whatever I have created, it should be like character, say for example, 20. Okay. So that you can give it here. Okay. And there is no decimal place here. So for the customer number, and if you want to see this output length will also be similar to whatever is your this thing.
So it is
like
so it is maximum 20 characters or mandatory
no,
20
no,
characters?
you can give character 40, 80 like that based
No,
on
no,
the
no.
requirement.
If I give 20, so it has to be always 20 characters. It can be less than 20 also.
Okay, it can be up to 20 characters. Okay, it can be maximum up to 20 characters. In the system, if you have suppose 5 characters, like for example, there will be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So when you go to SE16 and you give 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you will see that zeros will be added to into the prefix.
Got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You so that it will make its character length to 20.
Okay.
Okay, maximum 20 characters. Okay, so maximum number of characters which you can use is 20. Okay, so if you save it now, okay, so you have to always activate it once you create it. Okay, first you create you activate your domain, then you activate your data element, and then you go back. Okay, and you have your table. Okay, now in the table, so I told you about the delivery class, right? Now if you see here the data class, so your data class is like you have to choose it correctly. Your table is automatically assigned to that correct area, so it gives you the physical area in which all the tables will be assigned to that data class. Okay, so here in our case it will be a master data or the transparent table APPL 0. Okay, generally we will use either APPL 0 or APPL 1. Okay, and similarly the size category is something where like a particular memory space will be assigned to that, like it will determines the size of the initial memory which is reserved for that table. Okay, mostly what happens is if you see the size category here, it will be like 1000 to 4200, like it determines that size of that initial memory. If that initial space reserve is exceeded, then a new memory will be assigned implicitly. Okay, so let's suppose for example, if I go to this size category, I can use this 0 to 13 or 1. If it will be a large table, right? Like now we have created a very small table. We don't have many records and all. But when you go to the productions and all, and you use suppose for example 1. So what happens if that particular size is exceeded, then a new memory area will be added implicitly in accordance to the chosen size category. Okay, and there is some concept called as the buffering. So like domains we saw, then we created a domain, and so two-level domain concept means, say for example you are having 2 fields. Now the domain which I created here, okay, just let me save it and then I'll come back. Okay, this enhancement category, I'll come back to this. You can use the same domain for 2 data elements. Like here what they have given, right? Departure city and destination city. S from city and S to city can use actually S underscore city, because S underscore city will have one field length or field type, data type, right? and this both can be can use that particular domain. So that is called as the two-level domain concept. And the data element is like multiple table can use the same data element. Now this Kunnar, the standard field or any field whatever you have created, that can be actually used in multiple tables. Okay, up till this much it is clear, right? Create the data element. So we are actually in the process of creating the table. So that is what I have already showed you. Like these tables are the containers which stores the data.